I got this as a kit from MX-5 Miata, kind of a mild performance brake upgrade. So these are my mad Australian rotors, and I have EBC green stuff pads. I've used these pads on a lot of my other cars. I really do like them a lot. This is the brake caliper paint system I got from G2USA.com, and I got kind of like a dark emerald green. I'm going to paint the calipers. So check these guys' website out if you like the look of painted calipers. It's like a two-stage paint, super heat resistant, you know. So if you do like the look of painted calipers, this is probably the next best thing to having them powder coated, I guess. But they have lots of colors. They can mix custom colors for you, match it to your car, whatever color you want, or some color that you like from a different car, whatever. The green stuff pads are EBC's lower end ones. They also have yellow and red stuff pads, but for my driving style, I think these will do just fine. So I am gonna throw my car on the lift and take the wheels off, and we'll get started. Alright, so I got all four calipers off. It was a little bit of a bitch. I'm normally used to also, the caliper has these two slide pins, and on the Miata, you just have to undo the lower one and then swing the caliper up and then off the second one. So I kept trying to get that top bolt loose and it wouldn't fucking budge. It's because you don't need to unbolt it. But so I got them hanging there. Make sure you hang your calipers so you don't put stress on the line. I'm gonna clean them up and clean up the carriers so I can start with the paint. So there's one of the rears with a new rotor on it. It looks pretty good. I gotta clean up the calipers real well and the carriers too, because if I'm gonna paint them, I just want to make sure I do a decent job, you know, and get like kind of total coverage. And then I'm actually gonna let them dry overnight, and then I'll just have to put the pads on and reinstall them in the morning. So I'm gonna clean them and then we'll do the paint. I also got lug nuts, so I didn't have to put those rusty ones back on. The size for an NA Miata at least is M12 by 1.5 or 1.50, whatever. So those should look pretty decent. So I was turning back the piston on this caliper and I fucking snapped my clamp. So I want to make sure that the paint sticks to the calipers really well. So I'm going to be cleaning with a wire brush on my Dremel. And also, for a little added touch, I'm also going to grind off these mold lines, just so it has a little bit of a smoother finish.
You doing all right up there? Oh, girl.
So just for shits and giggles, I did grind down the main surfaces on the calipers too, just so the paint will stick really nice, and grind down those mold lines. Because technically, I guess painting your calipers could be considered rice. I just want to make sure they look really good and that the paint sticks and it lasts a long time. So that's why I'm doing a few extra steps here. I went a little crazy with the Dremel. Once you pick it up and start doing stuff with it, it's kind of hard to stop. But I ground these down kind of like just quickly all around, so that the paint will stick. You don't even actually have to take your calipers off to use this paint, but I think I probably would have anyways, even if I hadn't been doing the brakes, just so I can get nice coverage. And then, you know, harder to reach areas be a little easier to get to. So, alright, the calipers are all done too. I ground the mold lines off. I'm going to give everything one last clean with the brake cleaner, and then I can start mixing up the paint. I just hosed everything down again with the brake cleaner that came with it, the non-chlorinated brake cleaner. So I'm gonna start mixing this up. I've got all the calipers hanging and then the carriers hanging there too. I got a defective popsicle stick. This is a 2-part paint. You add this reactor to it. So I'm gonna get started on that. So I gotta apologize for the bad lighting in this video. Almost all the lights in the garage are blown, and I don't have a ladder that can get up that high. So I got this shop light here underneath. So I'm gonna start painting, starting on the rear caliper here. Oh yeah, it goes on nice and smooth. Pretty nice thick coat too. So these kits have enough to do 4 calipers or 2 drums. Try to get it down in the cracks there in that writing. But yeah, this is actually really easy to apply with the brush. I like that color green too. I've always liked the look of cars with the big brake kit. You know, like the big 4 or 6 piston calipers, you know. And they do have some big brake kits available for the Miata, but the fact of the matter is really they're I mean, they're kind of excessive for a Miata. Not really necessary, I'd say, unless you had like a high horsepower build or it was a drift car or something like that. So, not to mention they're fucking expensive too. Alright, so I got 1 rear caliper done, 1 front hanger, and 1 rear hanger. I definitely went all out and painted really everything pretty much except for the little rubber grommets and surfaces that are stuck together. I guess some could say that's a little bit excessive. You don't really need to paint all that, but at least I'll know I did a good job on it. And if I ever bring my car to the shop for work, they'll, oh, that guy did a pretty damn good job on his brakes. So this stuff is kind of thick, and it does run, so you're gonna want to go back and double check. I gotta take care of that one there. So I'm gonna move on to one of the front calipers. All right, I am done ski. It took me about 2.5 hours to do all 4 calipers and all 4 carriers. I went back around and did a second coat on the calipers, just on the visible areas, just real quick. I really pretty much got total coverage all around, so I think this should look pretty good. I'm gonna go to bed, and tomorrow we'll put the rotors and pads on and flush the brakes out, refill the brakes, do that shit. So good night. So I didn't even realize the contrast in greens that it would have with the those EBC green stuff pads. I think it looks pretty cool. The green is kind of just like a, I guess you'd call it like a John Deere tractor green. So everything looks good, put back together nice, new lug nuts. I am not gonna flush and bleed my brakes right now because someone else is waiting here to use the garage. So I just have to put my rears on. So on a Miata, the front brakes are self-adjusting, but the rears are not. So what you want to do after you get the caliper on and get the pin back in, turn the rotor while simultaneously turning that same screw you used to retract the piston until the rotor stops turning, and then turn it back 1/3 of a turn, and you should have proper pedal feel and everything. Alright, so I just need to torque down my lug nuts and I can get out of here. Everything's back together, looking good. I'm not gonna flush my brakes right now and do all that because I got someone waiting to use my lift. So I'm gonna do a separate video for how to do that, as well as how to properly bed your brakes, which is mating the surface of the new pads to the surface of the new rotors so that you get nice even wear for the life of your brakes. So I am about ready to get out of this fucking garage too, because it's like 100 degrees in here and I'm sweating my fucking tits off. So alright, I'm packing her up.